Slowly. Good morning, everybody. It's Danny Cherrett here from, sorry about that, from Rye, New York. As you can see, I'm very US based now, so there you go. And I'm very excited with my guest today that was very kind to agree to spend the next hour with us. Dov has spoken at our conferences in London, in Israel, in Texas, and in New York. And I got to know him a little bit when we met some families and went out. And I have to say, what a really, Dov, charming and humble and smart and exciting person. And I think Dov is, as I mentioned before, is one of the most exceptional, most prominent entrepreneurs to ever come out of Israel. And obviously he developed and invented the flash drive, the DiskOnKey. We'll tell you all about that. A company that was sold for almost 1.7, did I get the number right, $1 billion to SanDisk. Sorry?
1.6.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
1.6.
1.6.
You say $100 million.
Yeah, absolutely. And later on went on to do many more. He did more innovative companies and ended up with founding Grove Ventures. He will tell you all about that, where he invests in very select companies. And I think I mentioned that in one of my earlier posts that you managed to do quite nicely the transition from an entrepreneur to an investor, something that's not obvious at all. And what's going to be interesting about this call is that unlike previous calls, basically Dov will take it from here. You don't need me to interview him. Dov knows of all the things that I think he should be sharing with us that we care about. And then we'll have time for Q&A, right, Dov?
Yeah, absolutely.
So take it away.
Okay.
Maybe you can start, telling us how you got to this space and everything.
Sure. Okay. Great. Do you get to see the screen?
Yes.
Danny?
Yes, very well.
I am trying to go into a full mode. You see the full screen, or you see it?
I see
Danny?
the full screen. I see the.
Oh, okay, that's great. Wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Every failure is a crisis. You see it as well?
I'm sorry?
Do you see now that every failure is a crisis?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, that's great because I don't see it the same thing, but okay, that's fine. First, guys, thank you very much for joining. I'm Dov Moran. I'll talk about myself. I'll talk about Grove Ventures a little bit. I'll talk about crisis. I know crisis, failures. I'm expert actually in those kind of things. I'll talk about a bit. I'm going to talk about myself just in order to reflect from my history, my past, my experience about such unique times, because I do believe that even when times are tough, like they are today, there is a lot to be done, and I would be very happy to share this experience. And if somebody gets out from here, maybe with a smile on his face, or a little bit knowledge about what can be done, maybe some ideas, this will be my benefit, and thanks a lot. I'll be very happy for that. So first about myself. So I'm Dov Moran. I have a very vast history of activities. I began my business activity after serving for 8.5 years at the Israeli Navy as the head of the microprocessors department. I studied before joining the Navy electrical and computer engineering in Technion. Left the Navy. I thought, hey, I'm so smart. I can establish my own company. And I established M Systems. I'll tell a story later on. And M Systems went public. We came up with the USB flash drive, which I'm not going to tell the story once again. I was lucky to be the inventor of that. We grew business. We were sold to SanDisk. I sold the company to SanDisk at 2006 for $1.6 billion. Established company called Modu, was chairman of Tower. Began to establish more companies, invest in companies, and finally, about 5 years ago, 4.5 years ago, actually, end of 2015, I established Grove Ventures. Now, during this path, this journey, I think that I did everything that can be done in business. Yes, I did IPOs, I did B2B, B2C, I was sued, I sued others, I terminated companies, I invested in a variety of ways. But maybe the most important things that I've done is failures. And that is something is not working well, because just a second, let me try it again. It doesn't go to a mode of full screen.
Yeah, that's what I said. We see the entire screen. We see your, it's as if you didn't press the start of the presentation. We're seeing your screen, but we do see the slides. It's just that.
I'll stop the sharing and I'll go back. I'll run it again. Just a second. Wait, guys, don't go away. Maybe now. Let's see. No.
Yeah. Now.
No.
Yeah. Now we see it.
No, I don't see anything.
Oh yeah, because now we see. I see Grove 2 Deep Tech made in Israel.
No, but I don't see anything. Wait a second. Wait a second. Just sorry. I apologize. I'll do it right again. In worst case, we'll go back to the previous one. Let me try this. That's never happened to me before, and I'm doing every day 5 times Zoom presentations, probably. Something is good. Just a second. Let me try. We'll go back to the previous one because I don't see, so no animation, and I apologize. It is supposed to be amazing stuff, but better like that. Oh, wait, just a second. Okay. Just a second.
Take your time. I will just tell you in the meanwhile, I will tell everybody that next week we have a very interesting discussion, actually 2 discussions. Next week I have the 4th generation of the Strauss family. Every Dov grew eating their yogurts and drinking their milk, like all of us. One of the largest dairy product manufacturer in Israel. And she's a researcher in family business, and she will be speaking together with another family member who is David Bentel, one of the largest families in Vancouver. And the reason they are together is that both are next generations that also now serve or deal with family businesses professionally. Nava became a researcher, the only PhD in family business in Israel. And David is a consultant, very successful consultant in Vancouver to other families. So just so you know, Dov, let me know when you're ready because I can talk for as much as you want. And that's May 12th. So it's basically next Tuesday. And then 2 days later, is it 2 days later? On Thursday, we have something very special. Matt Sorum, who was the ex-drummer of Guns N' Roses and one of the most well-known musicians today. And he's also a tech investor. So very exciting person that is a philanthropist and environmentalist. So all of that is happening next week. Remember, we have 2 exciting discussions happening. So that's next week. Dov, I'll continue to share with them. Are you ready?
No, I think that now we're supposed to be good now.
Okay, so let's go back.
Do you see me now? Do you see the screen?
Actually, we see a blank screen now. Oh, yeah, now we do.
Wait a second.
Now we do.
Okay,
Now we
so
do.
on the right.
Now we see it.
Okay, that's great. That's me. Okay. Okay, we're really live there. We're really live there. Okay. Yeah, so if I'll go back, you see the screen. So I talked about what I've done. I did everything. What's most important thing which I've done, which I went through? The answer is failures. I had many, many failures. Why failures are important? Because practically, you learn from failures. It's very difficult to learn from success stories. Success stories, you can't duplicate success. Business is like river. Every day is another day. Every ecosystem, every environment, every market is different. You try to copy a strategy of a company, it doesn't fit. Failures, many companies are failing because of the same thing. And of course, yes, there are different geographical markets, but the reasons for failures are usually people, lack of thinking about money, and this thing, maybe market that disappeared, and these kinds of things are relevant to many companies. So I'm very proud for the fact that I went through many failures. Clearly, doing my job at Grove, I'm not doing it alone, that's my partners, and as you can see, each one of them is much smarter than me, much nicer than me, younger than me, but I have one thing which they don't have, and what's that? This experience, yeah. So that's Grove Ventures, and that's a slide I presented to my LPs actually in our annual meeting, and the question which I raised there was a question of what makes an early stage VC a great one. And I spoke about discipline, focus, support, bringing through experience, deal flow. You have to have very good deal flow. But then I put something which is absolutely not obvious. I spoke about values. I do believe that a good fund is a fund that is driven by two values. And other values as Grove Ventures are this. It's people first and value creation. And if I touch the issue of people first, then we can talk about a very important feature, which is AQ. I'll talk about soon. That's a statement I said after selling my company to SanDisk, and we did at M Systems quite amazing ways at the last 5 years of existence. We grew the company from $30 million back in 2001 to over $1 billion in 2006. Actually, we grew the company in a rate where every quarter we did better revenues from the previous quarter by 20-30%. It's not a Q2 versus Q2. It's Q2 versus Q1, Q3, quarter 3 versus quarter 2. It sounds amazing. We were profitable, but still, every quarter I saw that the company was going to close. What really kept me doing what I'm doing and what's really important here, so this is something we define as AQ, adversity quotient. Everybody knows IQ, everybody knows EQ. IQ, intellectual quotient, clearly very important. You know, you want to invest in people who are smart. EQ, everybody knows EQ, emotional quotient, how the CEO knows to lead, how his reaction with his people, how does he know to make his connection with his investors, his customers, his suppliers. But there's one more thing which is very crucial in running a company, in being an entrepreneur. This is adversity quotient. How would you react when you will be in trouble? And troubles are happening all the time, especially trouble like the one that we are seeing today. which is trouble of the kind that we never saw before. So IQ is very important, and I would like to talk about adversity, about troubles, about failures, about tough times. So that's this is in Hebrew. I apologize, you can't read it. That's a fax. Fax, yeah. There used to be something called fax. This is 1980, end of 1988, that I wrote to my people at the pre-M systems. And the letters, I'll try to translate part of that. The letter says, guys.
Dov, you wrote to who? We couldn't hear your last sentence. You wrote to who this letter?
To my people, to my own people at was the pre-M systems. So it wasn't yet M systems. It was what became M systems a couple of months after writing this letter. And what I write to my people, actually, I went to the States because I understood that in order to build a company that would sell in the United States, I have to understand America. And these days, today everybody flies to America. When you are at the age of 20, you were 8 times in America, but not at these days. How many years? 40 something years ago. So,
if you can speak closer, Dov, to the mic. Yeah.
I'll try. Well,
thank you.
So I try to, I went there, I put one of my guys, one of my partners to run the company. And when I was there in Israel, I knew how to bring project, but he was less good on that. And while I was in America and trying to get project there or find the right product or get investment, money just has gone. So I wrote my employees, I say, guys, we have no money. If it's if we are a car, if I'm running a car, this car doesn't have any more gas. Now you can actually leave the car and maybe find another vehicle to get to the right way. And actually, yeah, we do. I can tell you that we are seeing a corner, and it seems that there is a gas station after the corner, but we need some gas, some help, maybe pushing the car in order to get there. But I have to be very, very clear with you. I already said it a couple of times, and we passed the corner, and there was no gas station. So I cannot guarantee you that we will push the car together, and there will be a gas station. I want to be very, very clear with you. And actually, I gave them the whole picture of the money that we are supposed to get. There is 6,000 shekels. Another one, Bird Foundation. So that's the money. But I just gave them the picture, and some people left, some stayed. There are a few lessons. First of all, when you are a startup, even if you get investment and everything seems great, always remember that cash is king. Be very, very sensitive to how much money you have. Don't build on miracles. Don't say, I'll get to the right time, I'll raise money. Cash is king. I know the first one who says it. You have to be very, very minded to that. I think that these days are telling the story. Don't fool yourself, because many times we say, hey, there is a gas station after the corner. We just have to get there. No, guys. It might be there. There is a good chance it's not there. So don't fool yourself that there is a gas station there, and don't fool others. Don't fool your employees. Be transparent with your employees. Many CEOs, especially of startups, have this sort of belief that, they can tell the stories and everybody will be happy, and one day they come and say, guys, no money, you go home. Your employees are most important. And if you make them involved, if you tell them where you are, if you make them your partners, by telling them what's the situation, they will go with you a long way. Be transparent to your investors. Investors hate to be surprised. Don't surprise them with this, hey, money is gone. And that may be one of the most important lessons from my history. Even when it looks like it's over, it's not over. Push more. Seek help from anyone who can help you, especially your experienced investors. If you have investors, clearly you are with them at the same boat. If you were friendly with them, if you gave them the right picture, if you told them the risks, if you didn't hide from them the situation, there is a good chance that they will help you. That's so M Systems, we got money. Actually, a couple of months after writing this fax to my employees, we got money from a company called Milto. And the company was moving ahead. We did quite well. We grew business. I'll show you numbers soon. But then came the bubble burst. If anybody remember, this began at March of 2000. I have a story about the situation here. March 2000, we are going to raise money at NASDAQ. Actually, we were already a public company. We did a very, very small public offering. Actually, back in 1993, we raised the unbelievable amount of money of $4 million. $4 million, yeah. I know it sounds funny, but these were other days. But we were a very, very small company, and we grew and we grew, and we had our hurdles and battles, and every year the company was really doing better. At the end of 1999, we got a visit from two guys from Merrill Lynch. They used to go to visit companies from time to time. They came to us, and we talked about the activity. We showed them our numbers. We showed them what we are doing. We showed them the prospects, and they say, "Hey guys, this seems like you seem like you are really a real company." Means, you know, when we looked at you years ago, you did a small offering. You were not really serious. You know, business of when we went public, our sales were $2.7 million. But you did amazing progress. And what do you think about doing a real offering, going and raising a large amount of money, like maybe $30 million? Hey, our revenues at this year, 1999, were $30 million. And we said, wow. No, sorry, 60. We're 60. We said, wow, we can raise money more than our revenues. They said, guys, you do internet stuff, right? Internet appliances. This is the IoT of today. Yeah, we think that you can raise money. We said, yeah, we thought about that, but we thought that the right time for us would be middle of 2000 when we moved to profitability. They looked one at the other and they said, you want to hear a good advice? Raise as soon as possible, now. We took the advice. We were working like crazy. I do remember that we had to go to New York to write the prospectus. And after 2 weeks of working, it was almost ready. It was Thursday evening. The lawyer who worked with us said, guys, we did amazingly well. My proposal, fly back to Israel, be there the weekend, fly back on Monday or Tuesday, we'll work on it for a few more days, and then next week, or a week later, we will file. And I looked at my people and said, you know what, I have another idea. How about staying this weekend, work on this weekend, and give it a push, and we'll finish it on Sunday night. Monday we'll file. He looked at me and said, if you want to do that, that's okay. I'm living in New York. I go home every day. We did this effort. We went public. Actually, we got the approval very, very fast. We went public. Actually, we broke an amazing record. When we began the roadshow on Monday morning, the share price was $18. This was Monday, 9 o'clock in the morning, I think March 5, something like that. We did a roadshow. Roadshow takes about 11 days. You begin Monday morning, you finalize on Thursday the week after, about 60 meetings in a week and a half. Yep. When we finished the Thursday 4 o'clock, the 11 days after, when we checked the share price was 68.5. We increased the share price at this roadshow from $18 at the beginning of the roadshow to 68.5 at the end of it. We planned to raise $30 million. We raised about $150 million. And of course, we were very happy. And a week after, the market crashed. If we would wait a week, we would not do this, we would not do it. Now you can say, hey, you are lucky. I admit, I'm lucky, but we work very, very hard to be lucky. And it worked very well for us. So that's the crisis of the bubble burst. And then, you know, the September 11, amazing crisis, which really is remembered by all of us, of course, as something terrible that happened to our world. And of course, you all remember this picture, but take a look. The next picture, you see that even when there is such a crisis and disaster and the catastrophe, look at the new building that grew out of the ashes, practically. Now, clearly, when we went through the crisis and a lot of our customers disappeared and the whole market of internet appliances where we highly believed in this market practically died. By the way, it didn't die. It came back 15 years later as IoT, Internet of Things. We still, now clearly we had the chance because we had enough money, but everybody went and clothed himself and say, hey, internet is terrible, internet appliances, you know. This is exactly when we came to the market with this product, USB flash drive. And that's actually the first USB flash drive we brought to the market. If you see the name IBM, it's because we say to ourselves, we are not strong enough as commercial company, consumer company, to sell such a product. So let's team with IBM. And not too many people remember, but actually IBM was our partner to sell the USB flash drive worldwide, which of course became very, very nice and a great success. Few lessons. First, I do remember when I went public this March of 2000, there was another company that was running very similar to my status. They weren't public, but they planned to go public. They had revenues. They went to the same lawyer actually. We were ahead of them by days. And then the market crashed, and they stopped the offering. I say the market, crashed. We'll wait 3 months. The market will be better, and then we'll go to raise money. Why shall we go to the market when the market went down by 10 or 15% or 20% in a day? Let's wait. They waited. 6 months later, or 3 months later, the market was even worse. 6 months later, it was much worse. A year later, they died. Guys, when there is a crisis and you say, hey, it will be resolved very fast, first, everything relates to you, and it takes time. It always takes more time than what you think. On the other side, you have to look at every crisis as an opportunity. Don't get into depression. Think outside the box. Think what you can do. How can you take advantage of this crisis? What should be done? You have to fight for what you believe in, for your company, for your employees, for your investors. Come and fight it, and don't get into this mode of a disaster. Nothing can be done. And sometimes you have to do the opposite of what people are telling you. People say, cut expenses, forget about it. Maybe you should do exactly the opposite. Maybe you should buy another company because you are in trouble. The others are in trouble as well. Maybe instead of cutting product lines, that's the right time to open a new product line. Other companies are weaker. You have opportunities on that. So yeah, you have, of course, pursue the wars, but don't get into desperation and still try to stay innovative and bold. These are the revenues of M Systems in its last 5 years. $45 million in 2001, above $1 billion in 2006. It looks great. And by the way, when it looks great, that relates to my story about every quarter, it seems that the companies should be terminated. You know, even when company does well, still there are many battles, many hurdles. Nothing is simple. That's the reason that AQ is so important, adversity quotient, for the success of being a successful CEO. End of 2006, I sold the company to SanDisk, and I'm an entrepreneur. I like SanDisk, I like what they're doing. Eli Harari, the CEO of SanDisk, is still very close friend, but I had in my mind something different. I said, hey, phones are going to be, this is end of 2006, beginning of 2007, said phones are going to change our world. This was pre-iPhone, yeah. I think that everybody will use a phone. Phone is going to be part of our life. And what I would like to do is a phone which is very, very flexible, modular phone. You see the modularity here. By the way, which with touch screen, we were among the first one to believe that touch screen is going to be very, very important. And I began to run the company, to raise money, to move forward. It was really very easy for me to raise money. But here came something which was a big mistake of mine. Eli Harari, the CEO of SanDisk, came to me and said, Dov, you're running this company, it's great. You actually put money into your company, but I need for you to help me in one thing. There is a company in Israel called Tower Semiconductor. That's Tower. It's in the northern part of the country, Galilee, called place Migdal HaEmek. They are in trouble. Go to help them. Become a chairman of this company. And I went to Tower. If you see the place, this is Tower is sitting on a mountain. When the CEO opens his window, you get to see the city of Migdal HaEmek just beneath. I went to meet him, and he said, listen, we are in trouble, and we need someone to come and help me because this company is going to bankruptcy. And if it will go bankruptcy, all this city of Migdal HaEmek, all of these guys here are going to be unemployed. I said, okay, after such a statement, I have to come. And I went I became the chairman of Tower Semiconductor. I didn't take any salary. I didn't take any option, no equity, nothing. I came to help. It's nice. But here we come to another crisis. This is the subprime crisis. Began actually at the end of 2008. If you remember, I have Modu in my mind. And the guys at Modu, the guys I hired, did an amazing job. Actually, beginning of 2008, we had a working prototype of the phone working. Everybody that looked at the phone said, wow, that's amazing, I want one. We had agreements with operators. And what we have done, we went to Barcelona of February of 2008, great excitement. And clearly we needed more money, but I told my guys, listen, it's such an amazing product. We have such a great potential. Let's finalize the phone. So when I go to meet investors, I will go with phone and I'll give the investors a phone. And that's the most impressive things. I want to put it in their hands so they play with it, they enjoy it, and they invest. And they said, sounds like a great. Everybody in the company agreed. We have to finalize the first prototype so I can give it to the investors. And it took another month and another month and another month. Then I do remember when we went to raise money, went to a roadshow in the States. I went with the guys from Berkeley. And the guys from Berkeley came to meet us, and they said they've had a list of investors that we were supposed to meet. And I said, guys, it's a very, very limited list. I was sure that we are going to meet 40, 50, you know, the way I like it. I like to run from one meeting to another. I said, don't worry. When we get to the States, they're working on it. They will have a much larger list. Okay. We go to the States. End of the meeting with the guys in New York, the guys from Berkeley. I say, guys, can I have an update to the list of investors? They give me a list. Hey, it's shorter. And by the way, these days exactly were the days where Lehman Brothers stopped their activity. Anybody remembers Lehman Brothers? So Lehman Brothers is totally crashed. We go to the roadshow. No one wants to see us. I do remember the experience of going to a meeting two meetings in Boston, and then we have a meeting in Seattle, and then 3 meetings in New York. And I tell the guys of Berkeley, does it make sense to go Boston, Seattle, back to New York? And they tell me, this guy at Seattle, he is a real investor. We spoke with him a few days ago. He was highly excited. Go to him, fly back and forth. I'll fly. If it's a real investor, I'll fly to the end of the world to meet him. I flew to Seattle. We go to the meeting, came to the office of the guy, meeting room. We wait, 20 minutes, half an hour. Then the guy comes and say, hey, do you see the market? I say, no, market was down today by whatever %. And we talk to him, I talk to him, I give him the speech of my life, full of excitement, working phone, great potential, Vodafone, whoever. And I noticed the guy actually is busy in his phone and he's playing or in notebook and he doesn't listen to me. And after something like 15 minutes, he said, I do see your excitement, but I don't want to mislead you. We are not going to invest, not today, yeah? Hey, we did all this way, Boston, Seattle, New York, for this meeting, 15 minutes, yeah? We didn't invest. We arrived to New York, no one to talk with, but coincidentally, I met a guy that made his money out of M systems, and he became very, very wealthy person. While his first $1 million were from M systems shares that he bought, and he was nice to give us some money. We could continue, but we didn't raise the right amount of money from the right investors, and it leads you into a position which is not good. Finally, I had to terminate model, which I've done at the end of 2010. What happens on the other side to Tower? I came to Tower, and the company was practically in bankruptcy. Negative gross margin, $400 million to the bank, where they were late in payment, and the bank said, give us the money, or we'll terminate and sell whatever we can, which was nothing practically. And no money in the bank. So they went they are public market, they are in the NASDAQ, they're traded in NASDAQ. So they used to go every quarter to raise some money in NASDAQ, say for whatever, in order to be able to pay the salaries. And I become a chairman and I look at the numbers and I say, hey, guys, you don't exist. That's the reality, that's what we have. We did a very, very tough, we took very tough decisions. We actually, understanding the numbers, understanding what's happening in Tower, it became clear to me that the biggest problem of Tower was one customer, that actually 40% of the production went to him. Who was this customer? Unfortunately, you can't answer. SanDisk. I terminated the business of SanDisk at Tower. Tower stopped manufacturing for SanDisk. Very tough. It's a fab. Fab needs to be full production, 24 hours a day. That's a good fab. We cut the activity to 3 to 4 days a week, means 3 to 4 shifts instead of 21. And of course, it was very, very difficult, but that allowed the company to actually look for the right, define the right strategy, to find the right customers, and actually go back to profitability. But the most important thing, 2010, the company is or 2009 actually, the company is in trouble, but there was another fab in America that was even in worse trouble. We acquired a company called Jazz. At this situation, where everything is crashing around, we bought Jazz for shares. And this was crucial to Tower's success. And today Tower has a value of several billions of dollars. And I'm very proud of this, this success of my business activity. Few lessons. First, crisis. Even if you think that they are not deep, nothing happened. They are deeper. They will become deeper. If you need to cut by expenses, cut quickly, don't wait. One of my mistakes at Modu, I was such a big believer in Modu that even when we didn't have enough money, I did a very, very small, we call it RIF, reduce in force. I didn't fire, we fired 7%. It's not really shrinking expenses. You need to shrink expenses. Don't do it by cutting the morning sandwich. Cut 30%. If you didn't cut 30%, it doesn't count. It's not really cutting. Be bold. Be bold when you do this kind of shrinkage required, or when you go to business activity like buying a competitor. Be innovative. Don't be afraid of doing things which are out of the box. I said it before. And yeah, you have to be very tactical oriented in the times of crisis. But in order to act correctly in such times, you need to define a strategy. The biggest issue at Tower, when I came to Tower, it was purely tactics. There was no strategy. One of the things that helped Tower to succeed, to do whatever they were doing, is first of all to come and define what needs to be done. What's the strategy? What's unique about Tower? Where we want to be when we grow. And we want to be in a unique place, not doing similar to others, compete for any project, and do whatever products. All of it together help Tower to become such a great success. Now, clearly, I'm very good in talking about lessons and giving advices. But guys, with the best advices and the great lessons you learn from others, probably, sometimes you fail. What if you fail? And I know it's tough talking about it, but I think it's important to talk about it. So you need to remember, crisis is opportunity. Even if you fail, or close to fail, or even if your business was cut to half, even if you lost customers, even if things are not shiny as they were a year ago or 2 years ago, get out of the depression. You have to remember that life does not end in this startup or business or whatever you were doing. And you know, success, there was success before, there'll be success in the future. If you terminate a company, terminate it in the right way. Terminate it in a way that you are fair to your employees, you are fair with your investors, you are fair with your customers or suppliers. This is very crucial to us. And we did see a company recently that we had to terminate in our portfolio. It was crucial for us to work with the company in order that if they terminate, they'll terminate correctly. By the way, in such situation, we try to sell the company, so it's not over. Remember it's not over until it's over. We still work very hard with the company, trying to help them actually to sell the assets, sell the IP, sell the technology that they develop. It takes time, it's effort, it's experience, but we are there with them. It is possible, by the way. And clearly, if you have to think about what's after, there's always life after whatever you've done. So never give up on and always believe that there is a future. And if you tried one thing and failed, that's exactly the right spot to begin something else and succeed. And never forget, never forget, it's people first. It's what you do with people, how you deal with people, how you stand to your promises, how loyal you are with the people around you. Everything you should do, I believe, should be driven by thinking pretty fast. That's it. That's my history and my lessons, in a nutshell. And I'll be very happy to answer any question.
Thank you, Dov. We'll see any questions from our attendees here. I wanted to ask you a couple of questions. How did your employees respond to your letter that you wrote them, guys, this is where we are, we cannot pay you salaries? Were they all like, oh, we trust you, thank you for letting us know, we're good?
I'll be very honest, Danny. Some of the employees, after this letter say, Dov, we love you, we really love you. And by the way, I'm still in touch with these guys working for me 32 years ago. I'm still in touch with a few of them. Really, it's like a family. But they said, listen, I have a wife, I have kids, I have a mortgage, which I have to pay, so I have to leave. And I said, okay. And by the way, I paid them. Whenever I could, I paid them, of course. I don't owe anything to anybody. Some of them said, we take half a salary for this month or maybe next month. We'll try to help you push this car. And they actually pushed the car until we found the first investor, which made it M Systems. By the way, majority of them made fortune because if they stayed in the company, they got options. One of the things I'm very, very proud about selling M Systems is not the $1.6 billion. It's money. But 80 of the employees of M Systems. I'm talking about the employees which are not VP sales, CTO, VP operations. I'm talking about programmers, guys who came to the company to do programming and just stayed many, many years, were very loyal to the company. 80 of such employees became millionaires. Not shekels millionaires, but US dollars millionaires. And I'm talking about a deal which is, 14 years ago. At these days, 2006, this was a lot of money. And, I still love these people, and I believe that they love me as well.
And how long was that period that they needed to stay without knowing what's next? I mean, how long didn't they get salaries and all that?
Actually, I was quite lucky. A couple of months after sending this fax, this letter, we got the first investment. It's a funny story of how we got this investment. I pointed to something totally different, and boom, there was an opportunity and money arrived. And actually, we became the M Systems.
And interesting. So it wasn't that long that they needed to stay without knowing what's going on next. And when you went to your roadshow and you raised capital, and again, you say, luckily before everything crashed, who were the investors? Were they other funds, funds or family offices, or what kind of investors invested?
This was actually like we were already public company. So it was, wasn't IPO, but it was like an IPO because we were a very small company, very not famous, not known. And Citibank, which did an amazing job, took us to large funds, pension funds, things like that. These are the regular stuff of companies who invest in IPOs, and they say, hey, it's a public company, but it's like an IPO. Look at it like an IPO. We had the amazing phenomena. We went to the first investor, and he listened to the story and said, wow, it's great. When are you closing? He said, we are going to close Thursday, not this week, but the week after. He said, okay, I know it afterwards. He said, instead of waiting for the pricing, whatever, why should I not buy some shares now? So he bought the shares. The stock went up to 18, from 18 to probably 19. We went to the next guy. He said, when is the closing? Next week, Thursday afternoon. I said, okay, that's nice. Maybe I'll buy some there, but I'll buy some today in the market. He bought, the share went up to 20 and a half. We went to the next. Now, when the third day, people already looked this, the share went already from 18 to 24. So the guys at the third day said, why should we wait till the end? Probably the price will be high. Let's buy now. So they bought as well. And we created something rolling. So every meeting I went, the guy after the meeting was buying shares. And the stock went from 18 to 68 and a half. That's
Dov,
the story.
if you can close your screen sharing, I will see you better.
Okay.
I have more questions, but I see we have some from our guests here.
Look, nothing special to say, really. So, okay.
Do you have a blog or newsletter you publish to keep in touch on latest developments or anything like that? It's one of the questions.
We do have clearly we are fund. Growth Ventures is a fund. Growth is actually an early stage fund investing in Israeli companies. Only deep technology. We are the guys who brought deep technology actually termination to the Israeli market. Seems like others are beginning to copy the concept. We actually 6 people at the investment committee. 4 out of the 6 are engineers. 3 out of the 6 are entrepreneurs that establish companies, created success stories. And that's the nature of the fund. First fund, we plan to raise $100 million. We raised 110. We did a phenomenal job. We were very lucky to find great investment. By the way, not because we are great, because we are the only engineers in this market of investors. We know, and we are probably among the very few entrepreneurs in this market. So we can understand the technology very well. We can understand the entrepreneurs very, very well. We can truly help the entrepreneurs finding the right partners or signing the right agreements and truly understand what they go through and support them. So we did amazingly well. Out of our investments, some of them are already at the price, the value of about 10 times the price we invested in originally. Some of them are only 5 times the investments. There are one company that we terminated. There is one company which is not in a good shape. I talked about helping them to sell the assets. So these are 2 companies in trouble out of 14 companies. And this is, 4 years after establishment, which we are very happy. Recently, we raised Growth 2, which is if you remember, we wanted to raise 120. We finally closed at 123. We couldn't resist the last $3 million. But we could raise easily 160, 180. We just stopped at the 120, 123, because we think that's the right number for a fund, like our fund. Of course, we do provide blog, letters. Our quarterly letters are very, very broad. We talk about technology, we talk about the market, we talk about companies, about future, and whatever. And everybody that wants to join this blog, I will be very happy to get an email and actually make him join.
Now, Ron here is asking why no one pursued modular smartphone. It is highly missing. Modular could be also interchangeable with a standard where other vendors provide subsystems, display, etc. I mean, develop a smartphone-like concept of open system of Raspberry Pi or PC, which you can upgrade and connect. Any remarks on that?
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, if you ask me why module failed, first of all, why module failed? Because I made mistakes, many mistakes. Why did I make mistakes? Because my attention was split between module at a very, very hard time in the market, the 2008 crisis, and Tower, which was again large company, 1,500 employees, which I took responsibility for, and they were in trouble as well. 2 troubles at the same time is an issue. Don't do that. Try to focus on one. But the module was practically competing against Apple. Apple came with the iPhone. iPhone, amazing product. iPhone was a revolution. And we bought something which is totally different. It's modularity, which is nice. But when you compete against something like Apple and iPhone, it is a very, very tough competition. Hey, we're not the only one who failed. Nokia, Sony, Ericsson, you name it, Motorola, many others. So competition was very hard.
BlackBerry.
BlackBerry, many others, just amazing phone by this amazing company. No doubt. What to do? But by the way, when people say, yeah, you failed because of iPhone, by the way, it's excuse. You fail because you make mistakes. I made mistakes. Wasn't fast enough in adapting to these new concepts. We had delays. We did many mistakes that could be eliminated if I would be better or if I would be focusing only in one mission.
And when you speak about loyalty in technology, I think, and Uri Levin disagreed immediately, that the tech industry is notoriously known for very high paid employees that are very, they will move from one company to the other depending how much they pay. I had another discussion, when we said, with the coronavirus, would now some employees go to their company and say, well, the company on the other side of the street is now paying 30% less. Maybe you want to take my salary lower, because they definitely do it a lot when things are good and saying, oh, I got an offer for 30% more. By the way, Uri thought that in Israel, the loyalty is higher. I don't see with my friends that work in technology, they were definitely not that loyal. I mean, they were very loyal to the check they were offered. So that's one question for you about loyalty in technology in general and in Israel in particular. And two, how do you think the corona space will change, the corona crisis will change that balance between employees and employers?
Well, first of all, let's talk about corona in general. I think that it's a good subject to talk about. But I would say that first in Israel, the loyalty is much larger than Silicon Valley or other places. But when Uri talks about high tech, there are many faces to high tech. There is all this mobile application, software for enterprise, gaming, where people are. It's more, I would say, more opportunistic. When we talk about deep tech, we talk about hardware, semiconductor, things that relate to science, artificial intelligence, core of artificial intelligence, the real hardcore, hard stuff. People are much more loyal because they don't come just for the, hey, let's make money. They come to really explore something, do something which is very difficult. They're very proud of what they are doing. They do things which are tough to implement. And many of those kind of employees are getting connected to their companies very well, very much. I saw in M Systems very little, very few people that were leaving the company, and there was amazing love from the employees to the company. And then there are many styles. Some people believe that, hey, the style is to hire, fire, take, provide higher salaries to get the right people. And I believed in, and I still believe, that you have to create the right ecosystem in the company, right environment, culture, DNA of a company. And then you don't have to fight so much by raising salaries to keep the good people. They are staying there because they feel that they are part of the company. That's my belief and my way of thinking. Of course, I try to forward this way of thinking to my companies in the portfolios of Grow 1 and Grow 2. Corona disaster is a very different disaster. It's a disaster, yeah, compared to the bubble burst, the internet 2000 story, and the crisis of 2006. Sorry, 2008, the subprime. Why is it different? Because in subprime, if you didn't buy shares, if you were not involved in the banks, you were not didn't take mortgage and bought houses, things like that, you were okay. Stock market went down 10%, 30%. It went down to 40%. You lost some money. If you waited a year after, everything is fine. Everything is great. In this crisis now, it touched everybody. There are very few people or companies that actually are making money out of the disaster. Anybody who makes these masks, hey, he makes money. That's great. Hey,
Zoom.
opening a company to make masks. No, too late now. But no, and I don't invest only in deep tech. This is not deep tech. But everybody else, and that's Danny, that includes you. This includes each one of the guys speaking to us. It includes their parents, of course, and children and nephews and whatever, because everybody suffers. And the getting back to life would take time. And when I say everybody, so you can say, hey, I have a factory of shoes. I don't suffer. You do suffer. Why do you suffer? Because, you know, airlines are going bankruptcy. Their shares are going to go down or disappear. Everybody has less money. People that used to buy 3 shoes, 5 shoes a year would buy only 2. So your business will become smaller. That's reality. Everybody will suffer. And this sort of fact of suffer, I think that the thinking should be, do I have enough money? Everybody needs to think, do I have enough cash, enough money to survive? Because it's going to be at the next 6 months, 9 months, maybe 18 months. It's going to be very difficult actually to raise money to your business. If your business requires money, if you are a high-tech startup that didn't raise money, you have to take into consideration that it's going to be very, very tough for you to raise money. Unfortunately, I don't have great news. The news is that, hey, at some time, maybe 6 months, maybe 3 months, maybe 18 months, this will be over. We go back to life, we go back to progress, we go back to innovations, inventions, new stuff, a lot of great things come out of this. Probably many of the things that would come would be related to medicine, to biotech, to digital health. By the way, there is a lady in the line called Linda Lee from a fund called Vickers, which they're doing a lot of biotech stuff. Linda is the managing partners of a fund called Vickers. And I think that a fund like that, where the knowledge is a lot of digital health, would help them to do very, very well. So yeah, some people, you know, everybody suffers. Some people would know how to take this crisis and actually make out of this crisis something good for themselves.
And how does it affect you? You need to support your companies that some of them might be in a tougher situation because of this. So what
I'm the lucky guy, Danny. I'm the lucky guy. I raise money. I have $123 million waiting for investment. So
your companies are good. They can be rest assured that they're lucky.
Yeah, my companies are well. By the way, we do have, actually the best funds are the funds who are happening that where money was raised just before the crisis. Why? Because I will have now less competition. I will have money to support my companies while others cannot support their companies. And therefore, you know, I'm in a great situation.
And now I see another question here. Do you have steps or processes for developing a coherent strategy during a crisis?
Well, first of all, there are no steps. First of all, every company is very, very different. And with some companies, we actually now are closing around to one of our companies of Grow One. It's an amazing company. It's an amazing story. We are raising for this company this week, actually signed last night, 2 o'clock after midnight. We're raising for a couple of our portfolio, $25 million. It's a company run by a guy which is now 22 years old. And he's raising now on a value which is over $100 million. And he says, hey, I'm in an amazing position. I want money because that's the right time for me to do acquisitions. This is the right time for me to expand my product offering. And I'm heading toward becoming $1 billion company. And I said, he's doing the right thing. He doesn't fire people. He's going to hire people and do small acquisitions. That's great. There is another company where they are in automotive. Automotive is going to suffer. So we met a company. I met them every 2 days. Yeah, and we said, guys, cool down. Maybe don't rush now. Don't really. You need money. Lower the hiring, less hiring, lower expenses. Think how to do, what to do. Renegotiate your agreement with your vendor in order to delay the money you have to pay. He won't throw you away. These days, no one throws anybody away. So renegotiate. I'll help you to renegotiate. That's part of the deal. So every company has to be dealt by its problems, issues, requirements, market.
And great. I mean, I also wanted to ask you, if you don't mind, how is it with your next generation? We have many families here. It's all about next generation and all of that. Are your kids into technology like you are? Which directions they take? Did you manage to, Yeah,
I know. I must tell you, I have 4 kids, and if I'll take a piece of paper like this one, and I'll put my children, one will be here, one will be here, one will be here, and the other one will be here. They're so different, each one of the other. So I have one girl which is living in New York, by the way, and she established a company to do a startup dealing with virtual reality. Amazing idea and concept, which I think she's at the right time, at the right spot, combining psychology and gaming into a product which teach you about yourself. What are you? And then connect you to other people which are similar or the opposite. That's one. My second one is physician. She actually is working at hospital as a physician. I told her, you have to go to study geriatry, all the elderly people. That's a great business. There'll be always patients. Unfortunately, she took the other approach and she deals with female, how do you call it, Rofat Nashim?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She's a physician.
Yeah, no idea actually, as I've never. The third?
And the third one is actually they're all in computers in a way. The third one is working as a data engineer, and the fourth one is studying in Technion. Guess what? Science, but they're very different still. But each one of them is touching in a way computers. Yeah.
Very nice. Great, Dov. We've been going on for over an hour now, which is great. It was very, very exciting. I'm sure we have more questions we would love to ask. I will send everybody our information, and maybe we can do another session later on. And anything you'd like to add, Dov?
Yeah, Danny, if you want, you can give my email address to the guys. I don't promise to answer each one I'm trying to answer, but you're free to give them, the guys, my email address. Guys, I'm not raising money now. And unfortunately, I know that you are looking to maybe invest. We can try to help you. We can try. My enjoyment is when I help people, and I do have many that I believe I helped in the past. Any question, anything, don't hesitate. We'll try to answer any question that you have. And I hope everybody is well. I hope everybody will take care of himself and the people around you. That's most important.
Thank you, Dov, very much. And I hope to see you guys with us next week with the Strauss family and Bentel from Vancouver and Matt Sorum from Guns N' Roses, who's also a tech investor, a very interesting person. Thank you, Dov, very much. Stay well. I'm Danny Chered, founder of DC Finance's Family Office Community. Thank you and stay safe. Until next time. Thanks, Dov.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.